Okay, so welcome. This is the first live stream of Team Flow in collaboration with Alex Bailey French and the CIPD Sussex branch. We're thrilled about this because from my perspective, and I believe Alex's perspective, this will be able for us to reach out to members that aren't able to be with us physically in the room. So that also means that you can watch it afterwards, share it with your team, so have a much, much bigger range. Before I hand over to Alex, and this is going to be an exceptional evening, I spoke to Alex before I went up to the ACE conference, and I was so excited about doing this. But we didn't know we were going to live stream. But before I hand over to her, I just want to mention two things for CIPD members. We've got our L&D, if you like, get together, come and share your work, etc. on Wednesday at the Works Group Brighton. So for further details, catch Niall Gavin. If you really want to food, come and join us here for our social, for a bit of a dancing lessons. But if you don't want to dance, you can stand and watch us make food ourselves, like the art. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Alex. I'm so thankful.
Thank you, Jackie. Hello, everyone. And let me just see if we've got anyone online. I can't see. Oh, yes, we have 3 people. So hello, everyone. Hello, come and join us. So, Team Flow. I'm going to refer to my notes, but that's to keep me on track because I can go off piece a little bit. But really what I'm here to talk about is something much bigger than just those words Team Flow. I'm going to come on to talk about that in a moment. But we are hurtling towards a digital transformation that is going to change far more than we ever anticipated. We are far more morally conscious now as well of what we're doing to our people and our planet. Yet, we're celebrating things like agile methodology and mindfulness and prettier psychometric diagrams. And we're losing the art of human connection. People are less and less able to have meaningful human conversations. So I ask you to just think about whether or not you are really happy with the state of innovation in the people's space right now. Is it really good enough to keep up with the pace of technological advancement that is happening right now all around us? Are we doing a good enough job? Businesses are forever focusing on being more competitive with products, with driving higher profits, with increasing shareholder value. But is that right? And is it at the expense of something far more important? It's surely time to put our people first and do it in a much more radical way than simply just adding in value. We really need to think about how can we put our people first and really mean it right the way through the organisation. We have to move on, I think, beyond this kind of self-serving, crazy consumerism. And we have to leave this place, and I talk from personal situation, we have to leave this place in a better state for our next generation, because that's really our duty to do so. Has anyone read Simon Sinek's latest book, The Infinite Game? Hands up, anyone read that one? If you haven't yet read it, you really need to read it. It's truly remarkable. But I just want to share with you our situation at the moment, because Bailey and Friends are actually set up to play the infinite game. We don't have shareholders, private equity investors, or anyone telling us what to do. We were set up organically as a business to be around for 100+ years, to serve the wonderful clients that we really care about, to serve the community that helps set us up, and to support the continual relationships we have with suppliers that help us serve our clients to do the right thing for their people. We're not a startup that's fueled for quick, rapid growth in order to sell out. And there's no one telling us what to do. We also don't have a price. And I think that's quite a bold statement. And I hope people understand the seriousness with which I take that statement. But I am driven, and we are all driven by a greater purpose. My personal purpose, is just for me, is that I have a real urgency, because I have 2 little girls who are going to enter the world of work in about 10 years' time. And I want to know that by that time, I have done everything in my power to make this world of work a much better place. And not just a better place, but a place where people can really excel at what they're good at. A place where people can do what they are encoded to do. They can be able to have human, meaningful conversations and be treated fairly and treated humanely. And that really drives my urgency. But I think we all have our own personal urgency around it too. So today I'm here to talk to everybody about a new step forward, a bold step forward. And really for us at Bailey & French, it's a culmination of all the work we've been doing with hundreds of thousands of people in large companies, small companies across the world over the last 5 years to really take a massively radical step forward. So for everybody here and the people that are joining us online, I'm inviting you to actually join us and be pioneers with us, because we are sharing early thinking. What we're sharing here today is going to look quite different probably in 6 months, but I'm inviting you all to be part of what that becomes and to share your insights and learning and thinking together in a clear collaborative group here today. So there's going to be some great opportunities to listen and to share our own experience and expertise, because there's an awful lot of that held here in this room. And I really want to make sure that that's infused into anything that we create as a company, or else we're irrelevant. So I hope you'll join us. I'm going to be sharing some early work, as I said, that we're excited to be creating, producing for 2020. And really, it's going to be the birth of something quite radical and quite different, as I said, and hopefully catapult us forward. There's going to be books, there's going to be podcasts, there's going to be more live streaming. We are going to be so bold and so brave. Everything we do from this minute forwards is going to propel us forwards in terms of making a really considerable difference in the world of work. So we've been doing our research and we've concluded that well-being really doesn't happen on the periphery of work at all. It happens in the everyday moments. It happens when people are communicating. It happens in terms of making meaningful connections. We need to feel that we are contributing to something bigger than ourselves. It happens in our dialogue, predominantly, in our conversations with our teams, with our managers, with our peers. But we've got to stop and stop avoiding the difficult challenge and tackle it head on. We need to stop doing all the things that keep us busy and overloaded and exhausted, and really refocus and sharply refocus on the things that make the biggest difference. Because there's tons of stuff out there we can do. I know it, because I speak to loads of clients. We're doing tons of things. And I think, my goodness, the complexity that sits with all the different multiple things that you're doing and how they connect to the communication strategy, the employee experience strategy, and the recruitment and attraction strategy. It's very complex. And if it's complex enough for us to understand and we're introducing it, how does everyone feel when they're actually getting these waves of these new things being introduced to them? We have to sharpen our focus and do the things that are going to make the biggest difference. And that is the radical move that we need to make in terms of people's space. And so I'm really excited to share with you some of our own thinking, as I said, on team flow. So I'm hoping that that headline attracted everybody to come along and see. What we're looking at here, I'm sure many of you, because you're from Sussex mostly, have probably seen the murmuration of starlings over the Brighton piers. It's truly amazing. It's remarkable. It's unbelievable to imagine that so many individual living things can work so harmoniously and ebb and flow in such beautiful synchronicity to be able to fly like that. and be agile and flexible to everything that's around them. They never hit peer. We never see two hit each other either and fall out of the sky, do we? What incredible ability they have to be able to do that as one unit, a harmonious unit together, not about the individuals. And so I want to draw some parallels to that here today. And so I'm going to share with you some thinking around how we can support teams to flow together in that beautiful way, synchronizing for excellence, for beautiful, absolutely amazing performance, and supporting all the individuals that are within that to be part of the whole. So Nikki's going to switch my slides for me. So what is team play? Hello. We're going to be talking about team flow in terms of the differences of what's out there already. But in terms of what the approach we're taking at Bailey and French, it's going to be about performance and it's going to be about well-being together. We've got performance and well-being products. Lots of our clients say, can't we do all of that? Of course. And we should be doing all of that. And that's what we're doing. Because our clients have asked us and the demand requires that actually everything needs to be pulled together. We're going to focus a lot on peer collaboration because the unit of the team actually has more power than the individuals that sit within it. And we hear that a lot in sports analogies, don't we? But what does that really mean in business? Because in businesses that I've worked with, and I've worked with many over the past 20 years, actually there is a huge focus on individual high performance, getting individual high performance, squeezing it out of every single person in the team in order to get a high performing team. But that's really, it feels wrong, doesn't it? Because actually that's so performance driven and it's not really supporting the individual needs of people that actually need to focus on their well-being at the same time. Not just when that one falls over, we have to focus on the high-performing one person. It needs to be something that's fully integrated. And so peer collaboration is going to be really, really important. Much more important than it has been. Team flow needs to be based on evidence-based research. And there's tons of it out there now. Loads of really good stuff. And yet, for some reason, a lot of organisations I speak to are working with some archaic theories and models. And it's unbelievable when I say, why are you using that one? Oh, because we've always used that one. And that's ingrained in our comms plan, in this grid of skills, and this grid of something. There's no real reason, it just is. And there's time for change. We need to really raise our game here. We're going to be looking at scalable, cost-effective solutions. We can't possibly just get something that works really well for the top tier and expect them to cascade the messaging down. It has to be something that everybody can grasp and take hold of and feel like they're able to be part of something, the whole, not just the hierarchy. And so we're not looking at just a simple leadership program that's then diluted down. We know lots of people feel like they're being done to when a leadership program is kind of like, oh, can we just dumb it down a bit and make it bite-sized? Can we put it online instead of face to face? Cut the costs that way. How does it feel to individuals when they feel like, the great people at the top get this wonderful, sparkly intervention, and actually we just kind of get left trying to work out what's going on and connect the dots. And those poor middle managers, my goodness me, they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. And they are the most stressed, the most anxious, the most depressed, and yet we expect them to focus on sorting out everyone's performance and well-being. It's not possible, really. This is the first time I've ever said this, and I am being bold and brave when I say this. This team flow intervention is going to be able to replace all existing team building and assessment approaches. And I think it needs to. There's too much of us layering on more and more stuff on people. We need to rip stuff out and focus on the right things. And there's just not enough bold people out there saying, okay, I'm just going to stop doing that. And if you think about how much money your organisation or clients that you work with spend on team building activities, and I talk to them about what they've done, it's a great day, yeah, we did this and got a great report, yeah, what's changed? Nothing. You have to be able to say, stop doing that. Work on those human connections, the threads that make us the unique, brilliant human beings that we are. And that's my last point. It has to be human. We can't support teams by getting them to fill out a questionnaire with a computer. It's again dumbing down the essence of that human connection, the conversation that makes it so relevant when we're learning about ourselves. To learn from a computer and a report is really not human at all, is it? And yet we're doing it because it's the only way of scaling large team building assessment. It seems crazy when you think that way. So, why? I started to connect something to why. So, team building and development assessment process. And we looked at a lot of team building models, high performance models, well-being models to see what's out there at the moment. And the one overriding and overarching piece is that a lot of it's built on deficit model. Looking at what's wrong with the team or what's wrong with people and saying, right, how are we going to fix that? As positive psychologists, that just really is so easy to say, right, well, there's a step change automatically. Because we know that if we focus on what's right with people, the traction, the commitment, the accountability is there instantly. People enjoy working on themselves in a positive way, and it's so much more respectful to the increasing diversity that we need in our organisations in order to innovate across the board. Diminishing hierarchical powers. We know that lots of organisations work really well because of the triangular hierarchy. But the power that then exists within those hierarchical layers means that things don't get done and the bureaucracy gets in the way of people feeling empowered to do anything. So we say, yes, we empower you, but actually we don't. Because we've got all these layers of things that get in the way and that don't actually help people do what they're really there to do and what they're encoded to do. And people can't stretch and develop and grow because they're boxed in. Again, I've talked about creating high-performing individuals. We need to focus on the team, much more so than the high-performing individuals. If we're bringing well-being in for real with a performance intervention, we need to think about how the team can support everyone's well-being in that team. And it's only the ebb and flow of everyone's natural state to have great days and bad days. But if the focus is on the team in terms of the outcomes, we can support and collaborate with each other in a way far better than we have done before. Far beyond performance as well, so that the outcome is still there, but it allows for the different impacts that we all have at some point in our lives, and we all will have. And it's human to recognise it and to operate and support the team to work really effectively well, with some people doing well and some people not. It's far more respectful. This point here about empowering accountability for performance and well-being. People are perfectly capable of having conversations about their well-being. How many people have I spoken to and I've said, right, let's get these people down together and have a conversation about what's meaningful to them. Oh no, they're not ready for that. No, they're not ready for that. Seriously, these are human adults. They have conversations far more challenging than that with their kids at home or with their uncles or their brothers or whatever. And we're saying, oh no, they're not ready for that. Is it them that's not ready? Or is it our people? We like to have control about when things are going to be staged, when things are going to be communicated, and how things are connected together, because it's going to land up on their plate to say, how did you connect that and create a lovely narrative for everybody? I love that word. It's really difficult to create a narrative of all complex things that are going on at the moment in organisations. So I think we need to be a little bit more human and a little bit more realistic with what's possible. If we would empower individuals to take care of their own well-being and their own performance in teams, they've got much more visibility in a team than they have with a regular one-to-one, or even on a weekly basis with their manager, but they might not see that much, because that manager's in tons of meetings about other things that those managers do. But actually, they're sitting with their team, or on the meeting with their team, or online with their team all the time. The team have a much better understanding of people's performance and well-being than their manager does. How much emphasis has been put on the manager-employee relationship for so many years? Is it really the most important relationship in an organisation? Or is it only one that supports the hierarchical power? What about those relationships in the team? They are far more powerful. We want a respectful and inclusive approach that supports people in a team to be able to have the beautiful diversity that we need. Because we know diversity, all the research shows that the most diversity you can get into a team creates the best outcomes, the best creativity, the best all-rounded holistic solutions. So we have to be able to help people create that belonging and that sense of inclusivity within teams. So what do we know? Well, let's come back to swarming things, flocking things. Okay. So, neuroscientists, and there's some great bunch of neuroscientists who are working at the Innovation Centre at the University of Sussex, and they are looking at the swarming nature of bees and trying to understand why they swarm and what they do, and really trying to apply some of that thinking to the things that we do. Biologists have been researching murmurations for starlings for a very long time. We still don't know why they do it. So any ideas? The most important thing that I found that really struck me when I researched this, and you'll find it online if you can Google it, but does anyone watch The Lion King at some point in their life? Sorry, my mic is not Disney movies. But there's a scene in The Lion King where, this is a quite tragic scene actually, where Simba is losing hold of his father, and there's a big herd of wildebeest coming through a massive canyon. And there are tons of them. They're not falling over each other though. They're all running really well and missing all the things that are in the way. And the developers, the animators that had to make that scene, had to think about how they would program a herd of wildebeest that big in order to actually make the animations in that. And not only that, not only for movies and animations, but also for game development. And again, this is where tech is ahead of us. We've got to catch up. These tech developers were thinking about how can we create swarms of lots of things in games that we need to run around and chase people or get away from. And they came up with 3 rules that they needed to program things. So they had to have a degree of separation. Each individual thing needed a space, a separate space that was theirs. They had to have alignment. They had to all know which way they're going. Generally, most flocks do have a thing. They're quite flexible and agile, but they go in a direction. And they had to have cohesion. And that's the difference, from my experience, certainly on the self-managing team side of things, in terms of just having a group of individual autonomous operators versus actually having a team. And there is a difference. And a team should stand and should mean for something much, much more than just a group of autonomous operators who are all just doing jobs that contribute to a function. And so we've gone with this because I really like those rules, and there's not much else out there. So we are looking at these 3 areas in more detail. I like things in threes. 3 things are really easy to remember. So we've got 3 lots of 3 things. In separation, we broke this down into 3 key areas, and we're going to be discussing this in groups. So I'm going to stop talking at you in a minute. This first one is going to be about these 3 areas. Firstly, the unique contribution. So in terms of separation and having your own space within the team, everyone needs to feel that they have their own unique contribution to that team. A reason why they, as an individual, are part of that team. Space around them to say, this is my space, this is the space I fill, and this is why I'm here, I'm going to do this then. Clarity. People work in a happy bubble all day long, doing very little to contribute to organisational outcomes if they don't have clarity. They could be doing that really, really well. But actually, that's why a lot of large organisations are so slow. They don't move that fast, because people don't really have that much clarity about what's actually expected of them. So in order to have a degree of separation, you have to know what's expected of you as an individual. And this third part is really important. They're all important, but I like this one particularly because this is very relevant to the state of flow. So people need to feel that they are safe to stretch. This is about psychological safety, being able to make mistakes, not having to fear failure, and being safe to stretch into areas of strength. So I'll come on to talk about this in a bit more detail, but imagine someone who doesn't really like standing in front of an audience. I do, but I know lots of people don't. And actually it fills them with dread and anxiety. It's very unlikely that with any training whatsoever, other than just simply anxiety reducing training, that they're ever really going to be able to get up in front of an audience and enjoy it. So there's no point in making them do it. If you compare the amount of people that have put through presentation skills training, what they should be going through is anxiety training to get in front of the audience. And yet, for some people, that is seen as the area of development that's been identified in their PDP. here's all your strengths, here's where you need to focus. And it's not human, not at all, and I don't want that to happen to my kids, because it's just horrible, and I've seen it happen to so many, even very senior executives who are just completely filled with dread and fear, and it can be really traumatizing. Whereas, if you take that person who actually has strengths in people skills, but in empathy, in engaging with people and understanding their situation, and you help them think about how they could do that in a really, really good way on a one-to-one situation, and that's what they're really good at. You could help them stretch to do that in a group scenario, slightly bigger than a one-to-one scenario, and that would be helping them safe to stretch in an area of their strength without throwing them in a deep end in order to see if they sink or swim. And a lot of top talent programs throw people in a deep end to see what happens. And I wonder then really what we're actually assessing. So that was really important, but it's also really important for flow. So anyone who studied flow, has anyone studied flow or read books on flow by Lee High Except Behind? Flow is a state when you are absolutely, completely absorbed in what you're doing. You are so engaged to the point that you lose track of time. You're at your highest level of performance. You're also at your lowest level of anxiety. And on reflection after the event, people actually experience tremendously positive emotions afterwards. But one of the critical factors of being able to be in flow is being able to work on the skill level that is the right, challenging level for your skill. Because simply being able to do something that meets your skill level is very, very boring. But constantly being able to stretch people into areas of their strengths just beyond their area of capability is where flow most often happens. And so that's a really important one. Because what we're talking about here is flow for a team, not just an individual. It's really taking things to the next level. So go on to the next one, which is alignment. Team goals. How many people know a large organisation that has a lovely strategy and vision, and then they create these lovely plans? They're actually probably in planning phase now for January, February, March. And those goals are cascaded. Hands up if anyone knows these goals are cascaded. No? Some people are? Yeah, quite a few. Okay, so I know lots of large organisations that do that. They cascade the goals, and every single level it gets a little bit more detailed what that team needs to do to create those goals. Last week, I was in New York listening to some amazing people. I'm absolutely happy to talk to people about those individuals, the Simon Sinek's there, and Marcus Buckingham, Jim Collins, one of my heroes. But one of the things that Marcus Buckingham said, his new book, 9 Lies, I'm happy to promote it, he's an amazing author, was the fact that goals that are cascaded down are never looked at again, the research shows, after the first viewing. After the first viewing, never looked at again for the whole year. They're just used by dashboards for teams and departments to say whether or not they've done the thing. Actually, what they end up doing is quite often very different from their goals. These team goals for team flow need to be created by the team. What is the team going to do? What are our goals? They need to be short-term. People can achieve an awful lot in a couple of days, in even a week. These goals do not need to be annual. I mean, the irrelevance of annual goals, I'm sure many of you already know that, so don't be surveys. But team goals that are created by the team are absolutely core to team flow. People have to feel connected that they have created them as a team unit together. And outcomes focus. Focusing on the outcome gives us the ability to use our strengths to do the thing however we want to do it to get to the outcome. That gives us the flexibility to find flow states that absolutely help the team collaborate with all their unique differences to create the outcomes required by that team, and can sometimes be done in the most creative and innovative ways that no one else would ever have expected or has done for the last 30 years, because that's the way we do things around here. So this outcomes focus is actually about freedom, it's about empowerment. And we talk about it, but when I ask teams and some organisations about it, they're not really working on outcomes focus at all. They have an outcome, and then they're told exactly how to achieve that outcome. And that's not what an outcomes focus is. An outcomes focus is having the freedom to choose how you get there. Purpose and meaningful connection. Anyone who's done any work with us on our permanent work on well-being will know it's absolutely core, and it's becoming more and more core, as I said, about this dynamic where we're actually getting much more morally conscious as people and humans. that we need to feel a meaningful connection to being part of something bigger than ourselves. We need to feel that actually what we're doing is making a difference on a day-to-day basis to something, to someone. And that desire is growing, and partly growing because we're being marketed all the time, ever more specifically to our individual needs, from every single corner around us of how things need to be so relevant to us. And it's ever so clever, but we've really got to up our game at work and do good things as well. And then cohesion. This is not just about team bonding and team building and team away days. We have to jump through hoops and catch each other and do fire walking and all those kind of things that actually make a lot of people very fearful. This is about things that are really, really important for cohesion, for actually working together, not just simply knowing each other. Human, meaningful connection. Platforms for cohesion are things like systems and platforms that allow you to have the human conversations if you can't see each other face to face. There's lots of intranets and websites and things like that, but how meaningful are the connections that are made between those right now? We need to use technology in its right place for the right things and absolutely emphasise the focus on the human connection wherever possible. Face to face. I know it's not always possible, and I know it's a luxury because the cost of travelling people around to get them face to face is really, really high. And I know that people love more flexibility and are working from different disparate locations. We also know the rise of loneliness is absolutely up there at the moment. People are working from home and it does suit their lifestyle, but they are absolutely lacking this cohesion point. And it's depressing. Respectful relationships. People are not taught, and our next generations are not being taught to have respectful relationships at work or outside of work. We're walking around like this, clicking on. I can click to link into everyone in the room without even speaking to them. It's not a meaningful connection at all. And we might have, 300, 400 Facebook friends? I don't have any because I'm not on Facebook, but I know my family members do. And they're not real friends. They're very superficial, very meaningless connections. You don't know those people and they're presenting a lifestyle that isn't even real. So how many really deep, meaningful connections and relationships do we actually have outside of work, let alone inside of work? And how can we help teach people to have those? Because when I say we are missing and we are losing the art of human connection, it is so, so obvious. As a psychologist, being theoretically trained to apply models and theories that are really complex to organisations and to people, I am stepping back going, do you know what? We can't even talk to each other. There's no point in any of that. We have to be able to help people really talk to each other and talk to each other really well and respectfully. And that is called team flow, because otherwise you can't have that cohesion. Strengths, feedback and praise is about accomplishment, achievement, but much, much more than that. It's about telling someone else you know them and they're at their very best. And that allows you to have much more challenging conversations. Because it feels okay. People know then when you're challenging people about their performance, they know you at your very best. Actually, they're not making a judgment or an assumption about why or why not you're performing. They're saying, come on, I know you can do better than this. I've seen it before. Let's go for it. What's getting in the way? How can I help you? How can I support you? And in a team, it's the most powerful feedback, the most powerful intervention that can support a team to be cohesive together. And it may sound cheesy and really overly positive if you start your conversations based on very specific strengths feedback, not just, oh, you're good with people, but did you see the smile on the face of that woman when you walked out of here? Because she was so happy that you solved her problem for her. And I don't even know how you solved her problem for her. You made it sound so easy, and she literally walked on air out of the room. That is the kind of specificity we have to start thinking about when we're giving feedback to our colleagues, because that's what means that Ellie will do the same thing next time. But she'll remember that, no, actually, I So we have to think about these things and take a step up. These words, you can find them in the dictionary. Everyone will say, oh, this is all old hat. This is not old hat. This is a big, bold step forward, getting these things in place. And these are the basics of what creates the conditions for team flow. We cannot make a team synchronize in flight like a flock. There is nothing we can do to make a team do that. All we can do is create the right conditions for a team to be ready to move into team flow, whether it be face-to-face or online, in a way that you just know, being in the team and observing the team. They are absolutely at one in unison, cohesively, aligned, all knowing their own place, all able to contribute to a beautiful ebb and flow of performance that's agile enough, the incredibly advancing innovation that's taking place all around us. And that's what we're driving here. So, I really have fun. 7 o'clock. Good. Yeah. So we've got, there's a reason that I've got so many of my team in the room. So we've got Lewis, we've got Anna, we've got Ellie, and we've got Nikki. Because we want to give everyone here an opportunity to really think about your own organisation or client that you work with in terms of the conditions for team flow. I want to know your feedback on this because, as I said to you before, I'm sharing these really early ideas because we are creating something really big and bold and brave, and I need your input. So I hope you're with me on this. So the idea was to break into 4 groups with each one of these lovely members of my team, and we're going to go through some questions that are basically put into a brag status. So we're going to do, it's kind of like a bit of a posture across that separation, alignment and cohesion piece. And has anyone used brag status, red, amber, green status on things before? For me, it's a bit of a simple dashboard flash up. Are things really a bit dodgy? Are they okay? Or actually things going really well? It's as simple as that. And so we're trying to keep that simplicity so that it's easy to keep focused on what we need to focus on. And we're going to do that. I'm going to put some slides up with some statements. Has anyone ever seen a magazine where you've got some kind of piece where you have to kind of go choose a multiple choice question A, B or C, and then you, at the end you get mostly A's, mostly B's or mostly C's, and you get a summary of who you are as an animal or something. It's not quite as jazzy as that, it's much more related to team flow, but that's the kind of idea. So I'm going to kind of walk you through that in those groups with the time we've got so that we keep to time, because there's 9 different areas, 3 lots and 3. So we're going to work together on those pieces and obviously get an opportunity to collaborate in teams and hear how other people actually experience these pieces. So there's a great collaborative learning opportunity here. And then we're going to kind of get together and just have a bit of an overview summary of what could you really influence here. If you had to change one of those things to create the right conditions for teams in the organisation you're thinking of, what would those things be that you could sharply tune to and make a difference to? And we'll have a group discussion on that and then some questions. And then hopefully tons of people will watch the playback, and Team Flow will be launched out there before we've even got anything ready, and everyone will want to be part of it. So we've got lots to talk about. Is everyone up for it?
Yeah.
Yeah? Good. Lots and lots. Right, so let's go with first slide, and what we'll do is we need to get into 4 groups.
I think about 7 in each.
Yeah? Have we got 28? Nice. So grab your chairs. Let's have one team here. One team here. I'm calling you teams because you're going to be a team by the end of this. Right. One team here. One team here. One team back there. And one team back there. And then you pull yourself into a 7, right? Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Green stuff. Hello. Do you want to see if there's any questions? Yeah. So, once you're comfy, this works quite well. This room's actually quite cosy for 4 groups, isn't it? Good. Okay. So, has everyone got something to jot on? I think you might need one. You've got anything?
I don't have anything. I've got like what goes on the note
You don't need much space, just something to just jot your scores on so that we can kind of look at it at the end. We've got something else.
Thank you.
Okay. Right, so the first one, and this is all definitely going to change, so please don't be too harsh on the words used on these slides. This has all come together in quite a rapid pace, but as I said, just go with it. Separation, unique contribution, So the first part of separation is about being able to feel you have your own space that actually fits you, the reason why you're there. Red statements. So think about this when you're at work or the client that you're working with. People don't really know why they were recruited into the team or organisation. Wasn't really any formal or informal conversations taking place to review knowledge, skills, or strengths development in the role. So that's your red, that's your not so good. Amber, somewhere in the middle. There's a match of knowledge and skills, the job description, and the requirements of the role. And there's been reviews and development conversations taking place, probably quarterly, maybe annually. Some team awareness taking place to understand the differences, maybe with tests, maybe psychometric reports, possibly having a team away day every now and then, get to know each other. Or green down here, which is knowing exactly what knowledge, skills and strengths the individuals bring to the team and how that contributes for effective collaboration. Purposefully allocated work to maximise the diversity of team collaboration. So have a think about the organisation you're either working in or working with. I think, where would you score yourself? And just write it down on your pad of paper. Well, probably the organisation as a whole. Yeah, so try and think about the organisation. I think we've stated these more as organisational statements, so that would probably make it more relevant. So have a think about that. And then just have a quick discussion. If anyone in the group is willing to kind of share with other people why they've chosen their one.
We're getting there.
Okay. So what do we?
Okay, so I'm going to move us on. We'll come back to a group discussion in a moment. We can keep sharing these different pieces. We're just going to look at the next one, which is clarity. So how much clarity do people have about what's expected of them? So, on a red status, people aren't aware of what's expected of them, either by the organisation, by their team members, or by their manager. Generally disengaged or just floating teams or coasting, and may feel that they need to keep doing what they've always done and wait for clarity to be given to them. Teams get clarity about what they don't do well. For amber, people have initial high-level clarity of what the job requires, and structured conversations take place, like probation reviews or performance reviews. But this remains high level and doesn't always translate into the day-to-day ways of working. Organisations can assume people have clarity because they've done it that many times in town halls or given presentations. I've heard that many CEOs say to me, well, I've told them 7 times, we've got a deck on this. Haven't you sent it round? Send it round again. Really? People assume that they have clarity, but when asked, people would score low. Actually, there was something that came up at the conference last week, a suggestion from someone that said, why don't we start the town halls with questions? Why do the questions come at the end? Well, that was really easy. Green, people actively seek clarity of what's expected of them. Amongst the team, by their manager and by others. People who regularly ask for specific feedback on their own individual performance to ensure that their work is meeting the expectations of others. You get that? Have a think about the organisation. Jot your score down so you're keeping a tally. And just anyone else who hasn't maybe yet shared, want to share why they've put their score about their organisation.
Just the, sort of various so I
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one. Right, safe to stretch. An interesting one, isn't it? Sorry, I am going to keep moving on because I want us to touch on all of these and have more of a discussion. But, red, here, safe to stretch. People are wary of sharing work with others and fearful of being blamed for failure. Teams struggle to complete work and deliver results for fear of it not being perfect enough. Can't have that. Get wound up and paralysed by over-analysis. Have you checked this? Well, he hasn't included this, and he hasn't covered this. And have you engaged with that stakeholder group? Hierarchical power means a lot of checking and levels of sign-off are required. If not to get in the way of the actual result being meaningful or worthwhile. Senior leaders promote risk-taking. Amber. Senior leaders promote risk-taking and talk about no blame, but middle managers still hold back. I see this a lot, actually. Where I think the intention is there. It's really good, strong intention that absolutely we don't have a blame culture. And then when I ask a couple of people, they're like, absolutely the worst blame culture I've ever seen. And it's like, oh, they're so disconnected. Large organisations really struggle with this. All the best intentions are there, but actually all the practices just work completely against people to feel they're able to stretch. This one again, Amber, recruitment and promotion and development opportunities are offered to people with proven experience already, but rarely based on potential. Development is often based on closing gaps in capability, the areas of weakness are important. In green, everyone is able to focus on finding flow points where they find challenge matches their levels of skill. People are encouraged to extend development and stretch into areas of strength. For example, engaging a small group of 10 people to then engaging with a larger audience of perhaps 20. This would require a stretch of skill, but doing so in an area of strength. And identifying what that is and helping people stretch in areas of strength. It's a different concept. It's a really simple one. It's a different one. Have a little think. Where would you say you sat? Truthfully? Not you, but your organisation, I should say.
There are areas but I think
Everyone got their scores for the first three? Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to the second area, alignment. We're starting actually going the same way. Team goals. We talked before about the team creating goals together. So red would be the company has a vision and strategy, which is assumed to filter to all levels. Often it's communicated well by senior leaders in town halls or in presentations, but with little follow-up in teams. Amber, overall company strategy filtered down to a team level in terms of quarterly objectives, with some discussion in the team at team away days or reference to them in team meetings. And green, Teams create specific short-term goals together, with everyone sharing how they'll contribute and collaborate to achieve them with regular, daily, and weekly monitoring. There's people think that's impossible. It's not impossible. Can do it. Asda can do it. We can do it. So where would your organisation sit on this one? Okay, we'll pick up the basics. I know we can get out here at 8. So scores for team goals. This one is outcomes focused. So I talked about before, and outcomes focused is about freedom. It's not about telling people how to get to the outcomes. So red, teams are unfocused on delivering results and may be overly nice and supportive, yet achieve very little. I do talk to a lot of people that sound some really nice place to work in. It's just really not that inspiring because no one's really performing. It's really nice, everyone's really kind. I wonder how many teams operate that way. You know, non-confrontational, but actually they're not really getting anywhere, and then people lag, and the turnover is actually still quite high because people aren't really being stretched or actually learning. They're just being nice. Amber, teams are focused on results, but often not the right ones. This is really key for me. We measure a lot of stuff in organisations, and the assumption is that if you measure it, something changes about it normally. But we have lots of legacy measurements that organisations contain and just add more to, and then they condense up to higher level results of measurements of things. But are they the right things we should be measuring? We know that happy sheets are completely invalid and unreliable for actually the transference of learning. How many people still do them? Everyone. So yeah, not the right ones. That's just sorry, that's not mine. Measuring behaviours or processes that create outputs. So people feel productive and they feel like they're actually doing really good to tick things, but actually they're measuring so many things that the team isn't very efficient. And actually it's the measurement of things that can be really inefficient and really costly. They're measuring things that don't even matter. And this whole kind of understanding of what's important versus urgent, what's even relevant is probably the other box I think we should think. Green. Teams that continually reassess the main outcomes they're aiming to achieve and constantly re-question these to ensure that they are still relevant. As I said, the pace of change is so quick in organisations now, we have to work on a regular basis. Daily, weekly is so much more powerful. If you're going to have goals, at least use them. Space is created for people to try new ways of achieving outcomes, being creative and innovative with what's possible and challenging them. Scores on doors. Okay, so make sure you write your scores down. We're on 6 of 9, so we're nearly there. Last one for alignment, purpose and meaningful connection. So, red. Company has values. They're not connected or communicated beyond the initial launch, but they are referred to in company strategies and presentations. Just to remind everybody. Those ones are normal, respect, integrity, honesty, and excellence. For anyone who doesn't know, you Google organization values. Amber. People are introduced to the company values when recruited or help create them. And they can be refreshed through programs or infused into other employee lifecycle components. Similarly, CSR initiatives are offered for people to feel more connected to the company purpose and learn how it's contributing positively to society. Green, people are asked what their own intrinsic motivations are. They share them regularly in teams, asking why they do what they do and giving each other feedback and sharing feedback from their customers that relates to the purpose. Right through the chain. Coming back to what we do and why we do it. The private sector is going to struggle in the future with people looking for more purpose and meaning in their roles. The public sector is doing this well. Still do better. And I'm encouraged by what's going on. We see a lot of people moving into public service because of that connection. How would your organisation be on that vocational balance?
And translate it, will make these values fit into your performance.
And so one of the things
Yeah, I think sometimes.
will go on your strengths and we'll work very well. We'll have our own relationship. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to cohesion. So cohesion is about the bonding nature of the individuals to actually be a team. So red, systems are predominantly used for storing and sharing work information from individuals who can work together on projects or programs. So this is about platforms for cohesion. So systems are predominantly used for storing and sharing work information from individuals who can work together on projects or programs. Amber is communications platforms available on intranets or blogs which leaders promote but are rarely used. A lot of blogs out there now by senior leaders. No one comments on them or likes them or actually even reads them. They still do it. Absolutely. A lot of people don't like their own blogs. But you can tell. We're humans. This is the human connection point, right? There has to be a human thread there. People can tell if it's not your words. Work colleagues use other platforms such as WhatsApp for work, friends, group conversation outside work. Green. Platforms are provided for teams to bond in a human way. This is expected, and time to do so is valued in great teams during the working day.
Platforms just for
Yeah,
So everyone does.
that's the one we use. There's loads of them. But it's about the time. It's about being told that you are being given time to connect with colleagues because it matters.
Do you mean colleagues who are remote, or remote teams?
Absolutely.
But you don't want people who are sitting together.
No, I hope people would connect visually.
But they're doing that.
However, I do have to say, I have days in the office when I am in back-to-back meetings and I don't have a minute to engage with anybody. And when one of my team members then sends me a little gif of a funny, busy penguin running about back and forth to emulate me all day, I laugh a lot at the end of the day. It's about that ability to use those systems as platforms for cohesion, right? GIFs have really transformed the game of meaningful connection, haven't they? Don't underestimate them, they're fantastic. And I'm not saying technology isn't good. Being able to capture something that's relevant to someone that matters with a look or a thing is so brilliant. But here we're talking about time to do so is valued. Not just, oh, do that at the end of the day when you've finished. So much of people's time is supposed to be focused on the role, job that needs to get done. People forget that the role and the job that needs to get done absolutely is critical. And it's supported by people who know each other really well. And it's only if you give them time to do that during the day that people will ever really get to know each other really well. It's not about team away days. You can't just bond on one night off and get drunk and then remember it. And then it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm sure all of you sense.
Yeah, appreciate
I think there needs to be some one of the Okay, wrapping up. Respectful relationships. This can often be a consequence of the previous one. Okay, so our respectful relationships are fundamental. All the research out there shows that being able to have respectful relationships with other people that you work with is absolutely important. There is nothing under nothing. But it's really interesting when you talk to people about relationships, how many people assume that relationships can just exist by just being in the same presence as someone else. And I say to people, you know, what do you get from that relationship? What does that other person get from your relationship? People can't say. How do you nurture that relationship? Oh, I don't nurture it at all. And I think it's, I just think this is one of the core parts of what I talk about when I say there's a lost art of human connection. People forgetting to actually nurture those relationships. And with the dilution that's happening with our social media and those different plethora of connections and networks that we can have, it's completely eroding the really meaningful connections and relationships that we have with our friends, with our family, with people that really matter, let alone our work colleagues. And if there's one thing that we do differently today when you walk away from it, just send a text to someone that you haven't spoken to for a while, that you assume is your friend, and nurture that relationship in some way. Ask them how they help. Don't ask for anything else, just ask them how they help. How often do you do that? And it's just really interesting how many people say, oh, it's all right, we've been friends for years. You know, we can see each other, having not seen each other, and it's as if not a day has passed. Utter rubbish. It is rubbish. So much happens to us in our lives. The challenges that we face on a daily basis are so profound. Am I not on the right side?
Yeah, you were.
Off on one. See, I did get on my own. But that one is really called to me because the amount of people that say, oh no, we're absolutely, we're always going to be friends. They're not. They're not. When something happens really significant to them and they've not heard from you, and they can't even get the words to tell you what's happened, and you call them and say, how you doing? Yeah, all right. Because they just, a whole chunk of their life is dismissed. Because so much other parts of our life are filled with stuff that's actually not important. So please text someone on your way home today before you get in the car and just say, how are you? Anyway, right, back to the point. People don't know each other. This is red one. People don't know each other and keep their work the same. They're very separate to home. There's a lack of conversation, and misunderstandings, misjudgments about performance can turn into quite complex ER cases. I'm sure we've all seen that. I'm not working in an environment like that at home. I've been to quite a few large companies where there's tons of people working and it's silent. And I'm like, oh, there's all these humans all sitting there. And they're all like this, desperate to finish. Right, Amber. Teams take time out to get to know each other at away days or special meetings on perhaps a quarterly or a yearly basis. Green. Teams take time to understand each other and nurture all relationships. That really important word, nurture. They address misunderstandings quickly. The pace of doing that is so key. Provide safe platforms for open and honest dialogue. Regularly, preventing assumptions being made. Assumptions are at the core of where everything goes wrong in relationships. They ensure everyone feels a sense of belonging and inclusion the team, everybody deserves to be part of it. So what's your score on respectful relationships? Be honest.
Yeah.
Or dial up to the appropriate colour that you're having your dialogue with.
I love that question. I love that question. Let's talk about that question. Right, last one. Okay, so last one on confusion. Strengths of feedback and praise. I haven't quite nailed the title of this one yet. I think this title might change. So let me know your thoughts. But essentially, what we're talking about here is the ability for people to actually be specific about praise they want and the praise they get. So telling someone they've done a great job, saying well done really isn't praise. It's not much more than expressing gratitude. And gratitude is different to praise. So, red, people are given feedback on improved areas of weakness in performance reviews, on improved areas of weakness in performance reviews by their manager. Amber, people ask their team for feedback on their performance in anonymous 360 type feedback processes on what others think they need to hear. I can talk forever on the topic of 360 and written articles on it. Green, teams regularly ask their colleagues for feedback in specific questions they have created, tied closely to their work expectations and focused on strengths. It is complex and it's hard. It's not easy, it's not. It's really challenging. Strengths feedback is tied into praise when someone's accomplished a task or achieved an outcome, however small. That's a really important part of my sentence. So last one, write down your scores. How do you think people get on? In your organisation? In terms of the level of praise and feedback. Okay, so have a little look at your scores that you've written down. Are they mostly red? Are they mostly amber?
Mostly out
Are they mostly green? This is the lovely reveal bit that I wrote before. This is about taking all that into consideration. How ready is the organisation you're working in or thinking of for actually creating the conditions for teams to be in flow as a team, not individuals? Okay? Again, just bear with me. It's provocational for a reason. So, mostly red. No one on the screen can see you, but hands up anyone who's red, mostly? Got a few in the room, okay? Mostly red. Teams probably don't feel like teams, but rather feel like groups of autonomous workers within an overall system. Teams don't feel connected to the company vision or to each other, fairly disengaged, and potentially feel an accident a bit entitled. Laying the foundations at this stage needs sharp focus on the basic core of what matters most to people: respect, clarity, strength, grace, empowerment, and remove additional distractions that don't play teams. This is organisations that I see that have literally just layers and layers and layers of stuff going on all the time. It's not that there's bad intentions. No one's out there to create a horrible working environment, but it often is because there is just so much stuff going on. Don't introduce anything new. Wipe things out. Stop writing to-do lists and write stop doing lists. They are incredibly satisfying to tick off the stuff. Think about that on a daily basis. Incredibly simple, small activity we can do that really can make a difference. And we do have power to make a difference, to stop doing things and to say, in there, whichever review it is, with whichever department heads and leadership group, actually, I think we should stop doing this. You wouldn't believe how many people go, oh, thank goodness. I had someone actually, it was a CIPD event a couple of years ago. They had a competency framework of over 300 competencies in the organisation he was working in. And he said it literally, everyone just kept referring back to his competencies. No one was winning, everyone was losing, and everyone felt bad about it. And it was used to make people feel bad about it. He stopped the competency programme. Absolute joy by the company. Everyone in the company was like, why didn't we do it sooner? Not saying that's always the right thing, but it was just really remarkable. His response to that was that he actually, that was one of his biggest achievements, was stopping something that was really quite detrimental to the human connection. So, what about mostly ambers then? Let's see a show of hands. Ambers? Got a few good ambers in here? Okay, so not far off. Good ambers. So the organisation knows what matters to people, but stops at just good enough, rather than pushing for more. It's this slight adjustment that will make all the difference. Small tweaks to how existing platforms and interventions are run, or how programs are interconnected, for a seamless employee experience could make a significant improvement with a huge return on investment. it's often, and I don't know if anyone else is a big fan of Jim Collins. It's a great, it's an old one. Fantastic man, my goodness. 61. He's changing the term retirement to the term renewal, which I really like. So he's talking about the fact that organisations that are good, if you can tweak a couple of things and just shift them to great, the return on investment for such a small, tiny shift is huge. And all the research and empirical evidence shows that. So actually it's only a couple of tweaks to be a much, much better space. Okay, greens. Come on, you proud people. Who's green? Ooh. No greens. No greens.
I would say my team
Yeah.
is agreed and in a position to be able to shape the organisation to move there, which is a really,
That's
really good thing. I feel really positive about
Brilliant.
that.
Well, I hope everyone's We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, basically, so green light shows readiness for a team flow. Basically, an opportunity to excite people to go beyond their own work, to fit a special environment where the team operates as one organism, resilient and agile. This is where we get teams to pay attention to flow states and start to align them together and measure traction to performance. There are lots of measurements around the conditions for team flow that we can work on in Unity, that actually are really good indicators to see whether or not teams will flow. For anyone who's had a career history in lots of different organisations, I think sometimes you can look back and say, actually, that team, I remember that one team, that was a great team. I think at several points we finally made team flow. And you know, if you were asked, what made a difference in that team? You came back to some of these things, you go, yep, actually, yep, yep. I think. So, right, there just simply isn't enough time for everyone to share everything backstage, but I'm glad you've had some opportunity and you're to have a great discussion. Is there anyone that would like to share what their thinking is now about the overall state of the organisation and look at most of these boxes? We're going to have time to just hear. Is anyone any reflections on where their organisation sits and how they feel about that, whether or not it's the right time, what's going on in their organisation?
I think for ours, it's probably transition is the word. I think they know where they want to get to with some of these things. In some areas you can see, it's good, it's fairly green, we tend to based on teams or certain areas of work. And then, there's other bits that are, and because you're in that sort of transition bit, and there's other bits that are certainly still red. But you can see the aim, you can see the transition that they're trying to get to. It's a big organisation to change. So it's,
Grand. Anyone else? Thank you.
I think the model, suits some organizations, and it won't suit sort of different organizations where the teams are never permanent and constantly changing.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because actually, I think that was related to something you said, Jackie, around the sustainability of it.
There was a question that I had, because if you think about the remuneration,
Yes.
the starlings come together at certain points in the day and they dissolve and go back. And I suppose the question that's going through my mind is, can you attain that flow continually? Or is it something that we should think about in terms of peaks and let energy then get the energy back up and go to something? And then having a kind of pulse
Yeah.
that you're not trying to be the thing that I wrote on tweet that I put out was we should be changing from a mechanistic metaphor to a natural. And therefore you're not always at that high level. So I think I think it could go for organisations.
Yeah, and this is it's really interesting because personal flow, for anyone who's read about it, is actually not a permanent state either. And if it was, we would be exhausted and probably dead within a few days. Because the flow state is so absorbing. When you talk about losing track of time, you've all been there, whether it's been lining up your plots in your shed or whether you've been speaking in front of an audience and I lose time right now. But being able to notice that and create the conditions for you to be able to peak levels of performance absolutely is the peak. and you do need the trust to recover. And I think teams do too. And I think that the components of this, if understood by the team, but also the responsibility held individually, that actually organisations that are people have multiple teams can still work to these principles in a way that they can create the conditions for team flow to be there at the right times. So there's an interesting paradox there. All the concepts that we talk about today apply to human beings. So any human being in any organisation, any market, any industry, and that's where our research has led us to this point, because we work with everybody. We don't work with specific industry. So I think, yeah.
Back to something that you said at the start, which I think is personal for me, is if we're talking about teams and there is an interdependence, then even if one of your team isn't in that high energy side that we care about, I think that we need to just rethink team flow in terms of the energy state. As a team, we are still going to have performance, but some of our team may not be contributing.
Absolutely.
From that.
Absolutely, but I would consider that to be team flow,
Yeah,
because that is about
yeah.
taking the ebb and flow of all the individual contributors to ensure that the team is essentially still delivering, but taking those different contributors into consideration. Because no one's always going to be at the top of their game. It's going to be different depending on the members of the team and how large the teams are. We know span of control is massive in terms of team size, in terms of all kinds of things. So yeah, there's still much to explore, and I love those types of challenges, because actually that's what challenges us to make the most relevant, insightful pieces of work for our wonderful clients that we're working with. So, we're on the last slide. What next? It's a bit bold, actually, putting April on there. No, I said it. We're close, actually. We're working on this all the time ago. And because it's a combination of everything we've done, a lot of it's already there. So we're going to be focusing on a package intervention for team flow that will be performed absolutely by evidence-based research. All our work is situated in positive psychology. I believe it's the most relevant research and has the most stickiness to organisations right now. People don't want to be battered anymore, they're already battered. Fully scalable options for all budgets and all organisations. Loads of organisations just don't have the budget to spend on luxurious face-to-face interventions with people out of the office for weeks on end in lovely posh hotels like this one. But actually, there's loads of different ways that people can learn these things. As long as you're using the right thing with the right approach, actually, there's an awful lot that we can do. We've got some tools here that show you some of the work we've done in those areas if you want to have a look. And it just gives you an indication of the types of conversation starters and platforms that we use to keep that human connection. I've got down here pilot teams request. We are going to be looking for some teams, individual kind of intact teams, within a variety of different organisations to pilot different levels of our intervention. If you are interested in being a pilot team, we would love to hear from you. It doesn't unfortunately guarantee that we'll definitely be picked, because we do have some different types of organisations we want to compare. But please do let us know, because I would love to have something that is absolutely being tied into and taking learning from different industries across the world, basically. So let us know. Do we have?
Yes, we have forms that everyone can fill out with your name, your details, phone number, email address, and we can, if you're interested in any more information or about being a pilot team, then put your details down and we will reach out to the contact.
So, and also the slides, and we've actually got this, all these questions in an audit tool that you can print off and use with your teams and organisations. So, I think we're there. In terms of today, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Time has gone like that. We've been live streaming now for almost 2 hours, and we still have 3 people. Well done for doing that. Thank you. So, please, people, tweet about Team Flow. Tell everyone on LinkedIn that you enjoyed this opportunity to sit and discuss and learn from colleagues and peers. stay in touch with us, please. You've got some forms here, so please come leave your details. We can't communicate with you if you don't. But we've got newsletters with research and articles and talks as well. And we'd love to nurture our relationship with you, because ultimately we talk with people for years before we do any work with them. But by the time we do, it's really good work. So let's start that conversation. Thank you to Nikki and Lewis and Anna and Ellie for coming out here. And thank you very much, Jackie and Neil and the whole CIPD team for such another brilliant, brilliantly pulled together event in the space of quite a short period of time, I would say. So I am really honoured. We love our partnership with CIPD, absolutely love it. It's really important to our work. And I've really enjoyed today. So thank you so, so much. And I hope that we can continue the conversation. So please do let us know. We're sending forms around. So that would be great.
So, no, thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed this evening. So it's something that, as I say, that Alex and I talked about. I got so excited about it that I think it was just had to do it, and had to do it with this branch. You know, bring it home. She lives in Sussex. Let's bring our people home and really exploit it. So have a safe journey home. Think about Neil's workshop on, you can go, it's Wednesday, you can just go and join between 10 till 5, if you're working on some learning and development stuff, and you want to go and just co-work, please do that. See you back here, because we've spoiled ourselves a bit with the social, so great fun. And we're going to try and do some more live streaming, because we'll then reach out to people, and then we're going to capture all the good work that I want to try and do in this branch.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
You can subscribe, you can create a
Yeah.
channel.
we're gonna-
So please subscribe to our channel. You can send this link around to anyone who wasn't able to make it today, or to your teams. So please do that, because we really would love to have a whole bunch of subscribers that we can talk to about this stuff and ask questions and learn from. So that would be great. Thank you. Thank you.
So great.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it is.